What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder back again with another edition of History You May Not Know and Things That Are Not Taught in Detail for Show. Today's lesson, we're going to the great state of Louisiana. Louisiana, if you did not know, has had so many historical moments that has affected the entire country since its origin of being purchased, quote unquote, once the agreement purchased from France, when France lost the battle to the Haitian Revolution. Most people do not know that New Orleans has been the epicenter for so many historical events, historical messages, and historical riots. This one we're going to focus on is going to be the New Orleans Massacre of 1866. People realize that even during Reconstruction of this country, we were taught during Reconstruction, post-Civil War, that we were helping Black Americans integrate. People don't realize that even during Reconstruction, we saw anti-Black riots, mass murders, ex-Confederate soldiers shooting out Black Americans, death and pillaging of Black cities that were being built even during Reconstruction. Let's dive in and give an overview. The New Orleans Massacre took place on July 30th when a peaceful demonstration of Black freedmen set upon a mob of white rioters. White rioters were saying Confederate leaning. Remember, Confederates lost the war, but were still attacking American citizens. They led a full-scale massacre when violence erupted outside of Mechanics Institute, the site of the Louisiana Convention Center. The Republican Party, which most Black Americans were a part of, held to this convention as they were angry legislative enactment because they refused to go over Black codes and refused to give Black Americans the 14th Amendment right, which was agreed to by the government. Remember, Black Americans earned their right to vote, freedom in the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendments. The white Dixiecrats in the South were going against that. Even though the laws of the lands were already laid down, many said it was illegal. They would not respect it, and they fought against the right of Black Americans seeking freedom. The massacre stemmed with a deep-rooted political, social, and economic cause. It took part because two opposing powers wanted to go against power and freedom. It was reported that over 100 deaths, hundreds of wounded, and hundreds of Black freedmen were unofficially killed. However, Black newspapers said at the time, because remember at this time you had the white newspapers that were promoting one and the Black newspaper that were promoting the other. If you ever want to learn the truth, you guys remember, it's one side, it's the other side, and the truth is in the middle. The Black newspapers were claiming nearly 200, 300 people died, with only 3 white soldiers that were really killed. During the month of the Civil War, New Orleans had been occupied under martial law imposed by the Union Army. In May 12, 1866, the Mayor John T. Moore, a Democrat who had handedly supported the Confederacy. You had a mayor openly speaking of going against the overthrowers of the government. Remember, they were tyrants trying to overthrow the United States government. That's what the Confederates were. They were anti-American. You had mayors in major cities supporting the Confederates and wanted to removal of the Black Code. The massacre expressed deeply rooted social structure that was issued in New Orleans. New Orleans has such a rich and deep history that we must begin to break it down. Remember, this massacre was expanded deep rooted upon when you look at the midterm elections, the riots in Memphis and other parts of the city. All of these sparked in New Orleans. Let's go ahead and break it down. The tension really rose because Blacks were really saying, these are our freedoms, these are our rights. We are free people of color and we are going to establish ourselves. People don't realize this is why the Plessy v. Ferguson decision in New Orleans, Stark and Jim Crow, was such a big deal. Black people in New Orleans were saying, hey, we earned our rights. We're unapologetically going to do whatever it takes to use our rights. We don't care if you white supremacists don't like it. You got to understand at the time, Blacks were doing well, improving themselves because they were labor, and many were war veterans saying, I fought and earned my right to do what I want. The whites around this area refused to go with that. They said, we believe that this law should be this way. We're not going to agree with you. Put 2 and 2 together. You had Black abolitionists, you had white supremacists. An ensuing battle was going to happen. So the convention, it started around noon when a quorum of postponement of words and members began to leave the building. Black marchers with their bands playing it loudly, proudly. We earned our freedom. We're going to march and express our right to vote. Largely Democrats who opposed them, most were Confederate soldiers, stood on a white supremacy ideology by saying blacks do not have that freedom and right to vote within our government agency. Remember, as the blacks were beating their drums, making loud noises, the white men of this area stood their ground for their beliefs. They believed that the law did not change even though the unions won. History looking back, they were going against anti-government laws, saying the laws of this government does not apply to us. Those whites in Louisiana were virtually saying, we don't have to listen to the United States law. We are different. The nation reaction to this riot, when the violence ensued. When the violence ensued at this time, you must understand that mayhem was in the street. They shot, they killed, they battled right in broad daylight. Remember, you had ex-Union military officers who were black standing their ground, said, we're going to do this. We're going to do what we want to do. You're not going to control me. A battle went on when white people and black people were shooting each other in the streets. Remember, there were more white men in this side of town, coupled with the police that was supporting them, that were shooting these actual incidents. It was such a tragedy that, again, you always see the same thing come up. I want you guys to remember, the National Guard had to step in and settle the unrest. This radical leadership wrote about and had demonstrated how these guys began to spark up and start a movement. Ethnic cleansing. You are not going to get your rights even though you've earned them. Most of the time, if we look at it from a historical context, ex-Confederate soldiers would start the mayhem, shoot people, kill them. Blacks would respond. They would get chastised and demonized for defending themselves. You see this cycle over and over through American history. What we did not know was that the sitting president at the time, Andrew Jackson, agreed with how the massacre worked, saying, hey, they had a right to stand up for themselves because it was unlawful, corrupt, and the wicked Confederates going against the mayor's decision. The president at the time spoke out against these incidents because it was happening on his watch. If President Jackson did not pass, he was going to be impeached because he was going against the tides in the government. Johnson said, and I quote, the murderers, loyal citizens of the Confederates are pretending to act as police. They are harming American citizens. They are harming us. We must stop this infighting because the Americans are on brink of going against each other. The massacre in New Orleans, a tragedy when ex-Confederate soldiers assumed themselves as police officers, attacking black citizens with the support of mayors and other local municipalities. Remember, the history of New Orleans is beautiful, amazing, and sad. So many historical events happen in this place. The state of Louisiana alone, every person should go see their local small town history because Louisiana has literally got so many changes within this country. It's your boy, King Crowder, back again with another lesson again on ethnic cleansing, fight during Reconstruction, and the history of social racism in this country. I want to make sure we emphasize these type of things, y'all, so we teach them, so we do not wash, rinse, and repeat the same messages over and over again. This story right here is truly amazing history that we all should learn. This part was ethnic cleansing on part of the United States. It's your boy, checking out. Until next time, comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.